Hey there, listeners. Before I hop into my essay, I just want to explain myself a little bit. For those of you who know me, thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoy hearing my voice a little extra. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Gus Goggin. I'm a junior at Ball State University, go Cardinals, and I am studying English education, go Schools. Okay, I could go on and on about myself, but this essay isn't really about Gus Goggin. I would like to step out of the spotlight and allow the person I believe in to take my place. Enjoy.
He was an outlaw, that he roamed across the land with a band of unschooled ruffians.
I can really get behind Jesus. Not necessarily Christianity or religion. I know those words carry a lot of baggage with them. But Jesus, He is the man. In fact, I love Jesus so much that for a long time, I've believed in dedicating my whole life to following Him. He was peaceful and loving and bold and inspiring and gave Himself up for others. If He was walking the earth today, He'd be a superstar. He healed sick people, helped orphans and widows, was homeless, didn't worry about money, and did it all out of love. Think of all the junk that Christianity seems to carry with it. Jesus clears all of that away and simply tells us to love the Lord God with all your heart and to love your neighbor as yourself, the ones who killed Him. He taught and lived love more than anyone else, so much so that He knowingly went to His death so His friends could live. Matthew 20 tells us that Jesus came to serve and not to be served, and to give His life away. Can you imagine how big this guy would be if he were still around today? My story about Jesus probably starts out in familiar territory for many people. I grew up in a small town church where everybody knew each other and acted like good, proper Christians. My family was there every Sunday and Wednesday, and I was a regular summer camp attendee. This is all fine and good, but as with many institutions, the routines began to seem empty and had taken the place of the heart of the matter. There were lots of times when being a Christian seemed to just mean going to church on Sundays and Wednesdays and following the rules. Luckily, amidst all the religious motions, Jesus remained the same. I fell in love with Him, and I knew I wanted to follow Him. There are lots of things that led me to following Jesus, but one of the most important is when I first really dove into reading the Gospel of Matthew and about Jesus. I would read my Bible during my math class or my study hall in 10th grade just to learn more or grow closer to Him. He accepted everybody and taught an extravagant love. He taught me not to worry and to put others before myself. His message was radical, life-changing, and life-giving, and called people to live extreme lives. This message was not what I felt like the people around me in church wanted to hear. At the time, I felt like the church was more judgmental than loving, more worried about an image than in loving Jesus. And it was a place where people tried to fit a religious mold rather than living like Jesus did. When I was in high school, I played on the basketball team. I loved my teammates to death and am still friends with many of them. And lots of them weren't Christians and did all the typical high school guy things: girls, drinking, an occasional joint, and a lot of not caring. I wasn't really interested in those activities, but these were fun guys who I really loved, and at least they were themselves. The people I went to church with were not this way. They seemed so uptight with trying to be a Christian that they never really lived. It seemed as though the religious people in my life were bound up and hiding behind some behavioral code, and it was everyone else that was living life. My church seemed to want to draw a line in the sand between us and them. It was important for us to act a certain way so as not to be confused with them. This didn't sound like Jesus. Jesus wasn't restricted. He was free. I didn't see Jesus drawing these lines in the sand. He hung out with a rough crowd. He spoke with prostitutes, ate dinner with tax collectors, and lived the fullest life imaginable. Christianity gave me a vibe of holier than thou art, but Jesus was telling me not to judge and to have an unbridled heart of love. I think Jesus would hang out with the basketball crowd. I think he would rather be with people who were open and honest rather than putting on a mask. Jesus offers life, and life more abundantly. He doesn't trap people, he sets them free. Jesus has made me a more loving, kind, and selfless person. He is definitely the kind of person I want to grow up to be. I don't want this whole essay to be about bashing churches, because I really do love a lot of things about my church. But my heart wakes up hungry for Jesus every day, not church. Jesus looked so different from the religion we often see him attached to. He is the most loving and giving person I've ever encountered, and I want to follow him. I no longer feel like I need to defend Christianity. I just simply hope to promote Jesus. John 3:30 is one of my very favorite Bible verses. It is John the Baptist responding to some people asking if Jesus is the real deal. John tells them, "He must become greater, and I must become less." I believe in following Jesus and letting my life point to him.